We were 37-5. We started off with the indoor season, going to 2 indoor meets at Indiana Wesleyan University. We were able to get a few guys qualified for the state indoor meet, and then we started the outdoor season right after spring vacation. We lost a meet. It was cold weather right before spring vacation and took it on the chin to Westfield. The following weekend, we finished second at the Marion Relays. That following week, we took it on the chin again to a pretty good Lafayette Jeff team. The following Saturday at the Muncie Relays, we finished second. And the following week, we took it on the chin to Marion at a dual meet. And that's when we finally started getting things going. The following Saturday, we won the Kokomo Relays, second year in a row. Come back the following week, and if my memory serves me well, since 1995 we won our first conference championship, which is very, very tough to do in the North Central Conference. Following week, we had a dual meet with Logan, and we beat Logan. And last weekend, in a pretty dominating fashion, winning the sectional. First out of the 12 teams. Individually speaking, in the indoor season, I didn't write this down, so I was doing this from memory. And if I left somebody off, I apologize. In the state indoor meet, it's run by the Indiana Association of Track and Cross Country coaches. Robert Lancaster, Taylor Killings, and Harvey Lenore were all finalists in the state indoor meet. Adrian Glover was 6th, is that right? Memory was right. And John was the state indoor champion, the big school in the long jump. We had 4 Marion Relays champions, Adrian, Taylor, Waylon, and John. At the Muncie Relays the following week, John, Adrian, Bryson Sparks, Taylor, Michael Clifton, and Waylon were Muncie Relays champions. Kokomo Relays, we were overall team champions with Taylor and John, Adrian, Harvey, Troy Solomon, and Tyler Pigg being champions. North Central Conference champions, we were overall team champions with Adrian being all conference in 2 events in the 800 and 1600, John being champion in the long jump, and Waylon being champion in the pole vault. Last week in the sectionals, we were overall team champions. With John being a sectional champion in the 1, 2, the long jump, and the 4x1 relay. Adrian was a 2-time conference champion in the 800 and 1600. Michael Clifton was the 400-meter champion, a member of the 4x1 relay team.
Y'all remember the belt last year, right? I'm gonna get my belt out.
Taylor was high hurdle champion and the intermediate champion. Harvey was a member of the 4x1 along with Armand Bridgeport. Very excited that we've got a nice group of kids going into regionals, and hopefully we'll do some nice things on Thursday with John, Adrian, Michael, Taylor, Harvey, Armand, Robert, Jalen, Troy, Tyler, Waylon, and Christian Collins all competing on Thursday night. Hopefully we'll have some regional champions and some state champions, but I feel like it's very important to go ahead and have awards while the kids are still in school. It's tough to get everybody once school gets out and vacation and those types of things. A couple special notes I'd like for you to be aware of. We have a top 10 list in the history of Kokomo High School, which goes back over 100 years. And Adrian Glover has the 2nd fastest time that's ever been run in the school history in 1,600 meters, going 4 minutes and 20 seconds. Ooh. He also has the 2nd fastest time in 3,200 meters at 9 minutes, 27.13. John also has the 5th best long jump in school history at 23 feet, 8 inches. Taylor has the 4th best high hurdle time at 14.74 and the 4th best intermediate time at 40.69, and Michael Clifton has the 7th best time in 400 meters at 50.44. Now, many of these guys are other places on the top 10 that they did maybe their junior year or sophomore year, but of our kids this year, those were the kids that made the top 10, and the top 10 there is in the book. So when you get that later in the year or later this evening, you can take a look at it. Okay. I'd like to do some awards, and the awards basically break down this way. The difference between varsity and JV, kids had to do one of three things. They had to either A, average 1 point per varsity meet throughout the season. So they were going to need somewhere around 8 or 10 points that way. Another way that they could do it, we feel like that there's certain part of the seasons that is more important than others, especially the conference and state tournament. And if you score anything in the tournament or the conference meet, that's an automatic varsity letter, and you can get a recommendation from your individual coach. So first group I'd like to take a look at are my student managers. Student managers, come on up. Help me out with this. Our student managers this year were Jordan Bell, Alika Smith, Christine Grammer, LaReagan Ford, Edward Shoemaker, and Tyler Stodgill. These guys do everything from raking long jump pits to stapling books together, picking up trash, and they really do a great job. Managers can really make my job as a coach much easier, and I really appreciate your work this year. Keeping score. At our home track meets, stuff getting people to, work the track meets, but our managers go up, sort the ribbons and keep the score and stuff like that. So those managers were very important to us. Next group I'd like to do are our JV athletes. And our first one is a young man that came out this year and was thrower, Justin Butler. Just hold all your applause. Hold it all and we'll get him one time. Young man we got out this year, stuck it out this time. I think shows a lot of little promise in the hurdles. It's Tyler Gaylord, and I think Tyler's here. Very promising young freshman, and I think that in some years he probably would have found himself on the varsity, but we were very solid in the sprints this year, but I really like working with this young man, Rashad Gregg. Dayton Levine is another promising young sprinter. Trenton Lewis is a junior, another sprinter. Marcus Thompson is a junior, also a sprinter. Philip Warren is also a junior and a sprinter. Joe Weichel is a freshman showing a little promise in the pole vault. And Deshaun Young is a freshman, and he will be okay as a thrower. And these are our JV award winners this year.
All right.
So what's the guys at the top of the alphabet that always get to go first? Let's start at the bottom of the alphabet. When I call your name, just come up here. Okay? Hold all your applause till everybody's done. Our first varsity award winner is a sophomore who's showing a lot of potential in the throws and made our sectional roster this year. And Michael Zahner, first one.
Hey, y'all.
On the varsity awards, if it is their first K, they get a K for their letter jacket. If it's their second award, they get a certificate. Here in a couple weeks, we get a special K that will replace the K on our letter jacket for being NCC champs. It doesn't count as 2 varsity letters. I want to make sure that you guys knew that. So your varsity letter in track counts as 1, but it can replace the 1 on your letter jacket that will say NCC champs. I was very pleased to get this young man out this year off the basketball team, and he's shown a lot of potential in the 400 and going to run here in the regional. Jalen Walden. I never pronounce it. Another sophomore thrower showing lots of potential. Andrew Van Meter. Zach Truman is a junior that is pole vaulting and showing some potential in the pole vault. We were very happy to have Damon Tops come in this year, moved in from Illinois, is that right? And it's going to be one of our long jumpers next year, but we got a couple of good ones he had to spend some time behind. Bryson Sparks is a junior and showing some potential in both the highs and the intermediates. Sophomore Troy Sullivan, who is a regional qualifier. Sophomore Tyler Figg, junior, that's right.
That belt's about to come off.
Sophomore Min Pham, distance runner. Min Pham. Distance runner, sophomore, Brett Knoll. Sophomore, Bryson Morgan. First year thrower out, you're going to look at him and see he's going to be pretty good.
All right, Chris.
Darian McAllister, sophomore. Looking at this young man, he'll never be a thrower, but he can run the 100 meters and do the long jump pretty good. Harvey Lenoir.
All right.
Senior Robert Lancaster. Junior Taylor Killing. Both of these guys are hurdlers. Senior distance runner Adrian Glover. Senior first year out for track Ronnie Geiger. Freshman distance runner Jordan Feichko. Sophomore vaulter, high jumper. Coach Cox would like to have him all the time, but him and Coach Stucker are going to have to arm wrestle or jello wrestle or something for Waylon Coulter. I believe I got a mistake here because I think Christian Collins is a sophomore, another thrower, right? Or are you junior? Sophomore. In my book here, I got it wrong. Senior hurdler Justin Cole. Junior sprinter Michael Clifton. Very glad to have this young man out off the football team and basketball team and gave us a little depth this year on Ron Bridgeport.
Look, he looks surprised.
Distance runner freshman Jeremy Breedlove. Sophomore high jumper sprinter Christian Benjamin. And senior sprinter John Olson.
All right.
Put my camera in my purse and I didn't.
Okay. John.
Alright,
Hey, pretty girl.
here. For being all conference, young men got a nice medallion, and they also get a certificate from the North Central Conference for being all conference. Coach Cox, since you're up, help me out with these. Adrian Glover and Waylon Coulter and John Alston.
All right.
Come on, why don't all three of you? You're first. I'm One of the things that is so important is doing what you're supposed to do in the classroom. And it is with quite an honor that Adrian Glover.
All right, Adrian.
Academic accomplishment.
All right, boy. Adrian!
Next two awards are done by statistics. We keep track of all of their total points, and that's what was used to determine whether they were varsity or JV. Put the cell phones up. We break those points down into our MVP awards, and we give an MVP on the track, which is probably a little unfair. I'd like to, honestly, you should probably have an MVP in sprints, MVP in distance events, MVP, in the field events, because, it's a little bit unfair in the fact that, us sprinters can go and probably run 4 events, where distance guys are probably going to run, 3, probably at the maximum, so it's a little unfair. And field events, for example, shot and discus guys can do 2 events, where a guy that might just be a long jumper might only be in 1 event, and things like that. So these are statistical awards that just came off the points this year on the track and in the field events. And Coach Bill Cox, you got MVP in track.
Most valuable athlete on the track had, what was it, 98 points. Senior member of the club I've had the privilege of working with for the last 4 years. Everybody knows his ability, knows his talent. Indoor long jump champion this year, and going to apply for the outdoor championship. Third, John Austin.
All right, baby.
Now he's all humble. He's outside.
MVP in the field events, Coach Stucker.
This young man is a sophomore. Last year, he was a distance runner on loan to Coach Cusick. This year, he's a distance runner on loan to Coach Cox and Coach Cusick. Next year, he's going to be on loan to the distance coach, Coach Stucker. The most valuable in the field, scoring the most points, sophomore Waylon Coulter.
All right, Waylon.
These next 2 awards are ones that we reserve just for our seniors. They've spent 4 years in our program, and these are senior-only awards, and these awards had to first be nominated by their coaches, and then we voted on them as coaches of these events. I had the privilege of giving most improved, and it's hard to do this because this young man is a very, very good athlete, and you never think that maybe as a freshman that maybe he wasn't. Well, this young man, when he came in as a freshman, had never heard of him. He didn't want anything to do with hurdles, like most sprinter guys, until I force them. And it takes them about a year to realize, you know what, I'm not ever going to beat John Alsup or one of the other kids, so I'm going to have to find somewhere else if I want to be on this track team and contribute. And this young man wholeheartedly worked very, very hard. His sophomore year started showing some potential in high hurdles. The next year, he was a state finalist in the high hurdles. And what I think is such a great character about him is we had a young man that was coming up behind him and Robert Lancaster was almost like another assistant coach. In the springtime, it gets very, very busy in the fact that we've got basically 5 coaches. We've got Coach Stucker doing the distance. We've got Coach Cox doing high jump and long jump, and sometimes we've got it going on both at the same time. And we got Coach Kusick with the pole vault. We got Coach Mathias, you know, that we never see on the other side of the stadium. And then, you know, I'm trying to do the sprints and trying to do hurdles and those types of things, and wondering why guys aren't practicing and stuff like that. I'm going to have to move. But this young man would always take our young hurdlers down there and put them through drills and things like this. And I think he could be an excellent track coach someday if he ever decided he wanted to do that. But our most improved is going to go to Robert Lancaster.
All right, baby.
Our last special award is the mental attitude.
I've had the privilege of having this young man for 4 years in track. You wouldn't guess his potential as a freshman, but he made himself what he is today. He has taken maybe 1 week off after cross country, 1 week off after track, and then he comes back and starts training again for the next season. 2 weeks off. And they weren't really off, we cross-trained. We suggest that they bike, they swim, for example, and he did this. He has worked harder than anybody that I have had in the last, say, 20 years, and I've been around for a while. He was running up to 90 miles a week when it counts
Adrian.
in December and January. He picked the right parents because at least one of them had a lot of fast twitch muscle fibers. I'm not sure about the other one, but I know one of them has that. If you do not have a lot of fast twitch muscle fibers, your distance event increases. You go from a 100, everybody wants to run 100, to the 200, no, not fast enough, no, 400, no, 800, no, 1600, no, 3200, and then you're out of luck. You got to wait to cross country for a 5K, 5,000 meters.
They can have that.
Scholar, athlete, hardest worker that I've had in a long, long time, and probably in my top 3 in 42 years of coaching. Adrian Glover.
Happy birthday, Adrian! Happy birthday to you! Happy birthday, dear Adrian! Happy birthday to you! Look at she turn red.
They just get fired.
As I do try to wrap things up, I do want to remind
I
you
was watching it.
that I've got several copies of our season program book. Make sure and take 1 or 2. Make sure. Mom and Dad get a copy. These are really nice to have, especially when you can go back and compare, like your freshman year with your senior year. We couldn't do this without some great support. I'd like to thank publicly Mr. Eric Schulk, who's in charge of the stadium, and we take a lot of pride in the fact that we think we run some pretty good track meets. You know, we host the sectional and regional, and the road to the state championship comes through Kokomo, the Kokomo relays. I'd like to thank our superintendent, Mr. Hauswald, and our principal, Mr. Ramele, because without their support, we couldn't do this. I'd like to thank Mr. Mike Wade and Mr. Dick Christie, our athletic director and assistant athletic director. It honestly takes about 75 people to put on a sectional or regional or Kokomo relay. And they work very, very hard at doing that. I would like to thank you as parents for giving us the opportunity to work with your young men. And we appreciate the support with the Jogathon. pizza and the food and the uniforms and stuff like that all comes right back to these guys. We appreciate your support for that. Some of you did some potluck things to help us with the Kokomo relays. Besides, people are tired of us winning the Kokomo relays. They also like the fact that we put on a nice little thing for our workers and coaches and stuff like that, and parents. We really appreciate that. I'm going to be very honest. I'm a very, very lucky man. I'm a very lucky man in a lot of ways because I get to work with some really, really talented athletes. And, you know, there's an old saying in track that plow horses never going to win the Kentucky Derby. Well, that's true to a degree. We have some very, very talented athletes. We also have an outstanding group of coaches. I would hate to even imagine if you took the years of experience that these men have and added them together, because it would probably be well over a century's experience. And Scott Mathias was responsible for our throws. Mr. Phil Cox was responsible for high jump and long jump. Mr. Rick Stucker was in charge of our distance events. And I'll show you the dedication that they have. It's tough times in education right now. Governor Daniels hasn't been very friendly to us. They cut one of our assistant coaches. Last year, we had 4 assistant coaches, and we lost one. These guys, without any prodding on my part, took a 25% salary cut to keep Steve Kusick on as our pole vault coach. And Steve Kusick is tonight with Anna Pham. A very talented girl, pole vaulter. Hopefully will make the state meet tonight. So that's where they were publicly. I appreciate all And like I said, I'm a very, very lucky man. I have a great group of kids to work with, great coaches, and I have a wonderful wife in the fact that allows me to do this and puts up with my grouchiness and does all kinds of things to allow me to do this. And I wanted to say thanks to my wife, Debbie. You know what? On the one hand, we're right at the most important part of this track. Thursday night, if we come out and do what we're capable of, we don't need to go put Superman on our chest. If we come out and we do what we're capable of doing, we've got a great opportunity to win the regional meet, which hasn't been done since the Pettigrew and the Youngs in '95. We missed it a year ago by a point. But a year ago, we were more concerned about getting kids back in the state meet. We weren't even keeping track of the score or anything like that. And then lo and behold, you know, we were so happy we got, you know, several kids in the state meet. That got us one point short. I don't think we should be 1 point short. If we come out and we compete together as a team, I'm asking you guys one more time to pull it together as a team, and we can bring home a regional championship. Although that's on the horizon, we also got to start thinking about 2012. 2012 is going to be a little bit of an adjustment course. It's going to be hard to replace the Lancasters and the Olsons and the Glovers. Young guys, we've got some work we need to do if we want to keep this where it's at. Just keep the hardware on the table. I tell you this every year, and I'll tell it until the day I stop coaching. You need to be involved in other sports. If you are not playing soccer or playing football, you need to be running cross country. You need to be taking advanced weights. If you want to be successful. I would have never dreamed that Adrian Glover would have a chance of medaling in the state meet when he walked in as a freshman. If you will do what he asks you to do, you can be very, very, very successful. One of the areas that we've got to get stronger in is the distance events. I want to remind you guys, some of you guys owe me some equipment. It's a hassle. I hate it. We were supposed to have JV stuff turned in on Monday after the Logan meeting. Those guys that got eliminated, you were supposed to have it in on Monday. I got better things to do than write reminder notes about getting stuff turned in.
I got better things to do than looking up your schedule to
Because
find
I'm
out where
going
you're
down
at.
looking for your class.
Get it turned in.
Get it turned in or pay for it. All right. If you have been eliminated, make sure and help us with the regional meet. I am very proud, and I think there's a little advantage. The sectional meet is at Kokomo, and the regional meet is at Kokomo. I know there's some South Bend schools that hate having to drive all the way from the Indiana-Michigan border, all the way to Kokomo. They'd like to have it back. I need your help here, so we can get hurdles on and off and stuff like that. And so, you know, JV kids that have been eliminated, make sure you're here to help us for regionals. Regionals are on Thursday. Unfortunately for our seniors, state championship is on the same night as graduation. It's horrible, but if they had graduation on Sunday, would never be a problem. They alternated from one Friday night, the boys run 1 year, the next year the girls run. So we still got some things that we need to do. You guys see me here in a couple weeks, and Mr. Wade should have in the letters for your jacket with the NCC champs on it, and get your track stuff turned in. I hope we have a good regional meet and a good state meet, and I think we could hang some more pictures on the wall. I appreciate your guys' time for coming out, and see you all on Thursday. The trash cans are behind all of you.
Jack's on the case.